Hello everyone and welcome to Impact Session. Today we are talking about a major roadblock in digital transformation, the innovation risk gap. Government and highly regulated industries see the massive potential of AI and cloud scalability, yet many feel stuck in a paradox where they are happy to use these tools but deeply afraid of the risk. I am Imtiaz Ahmed, Director of Product for Sovereign Public Cloud from Core42. Today I'm joined with Kareem from Microsoft, who is leading the G42 and Microsoft partnership. Welcome, Kareem.
Good morning, Imtiaz.
Good morning.
So, Imtiaz, following your introduction, can you tell us why sovereignty is that missing piece of the puzzle?
That's a great question, Kareem. Organizations want to move fast. They want to use AI, they want scalability, but they are terrified of the strategic dependencies and lack of visibility. Sovereignty is the answer to that. It is the bridge that allows a CIO say, yes, I want to modernize, but at the same time, the CISO says, yes, we are in full control.
All right. So, if I may ask you, let's start with the fundamentals, right? How does the concept of the G42 intelligence grid define how we look at cloud infrastructure?
That's an interesting question, right? The concept of the intelligent grid moves the conversation from a simple storage to a nervous system for digital nation. Sovereignty sits at the heart of the grid, ensuring that we build in an AI-first economy. The underlying data remains under full jurisdictional control and is protected from external interferences.
Understand. And you did mention digital sovereignty, and that is broken down into 3 pillars. So the first pillar is data sovereignty, operational sovereignty, and technological sovereignty. Data sovereignty is the baseline. It's having the right guardrails to protect your information and your data as a customer. Operational sovereignty is the transparency into the provider's operations. And then the technological sovereignty is ensuring that you have continuity of access to your tech stack without being locked in.
Kareem, explain to us how Microsoft plays into this. How can a global platform like Microsoft Azure satisfy these stringent needs and requirements?
It's building the best of both worlds, right? With Azure, we bring in the hyperscaler innovation, the AI, big data, IoT, and then Core42 enhances the environment for sovereign compliance. It's good to mention also that customers who get access to Azure actually have access to certain specific services, the likes of Azure Confidential Compute or Managed HSM. Those services provide data protection not only in rest or in motion, but also in processing, thus ticking the boxes of data sovereignty.
On top of the Microsoft Azure platform, right? What Core42 has built an Insight, which is a SaaS application that you can think of as a cockpit for the cloud infrastructure. Gives the customers the visibility in terms of how they stack against the cloud regulations, specifically the UAE cloud regulatory policies and so on, giving the customers the visibility, and at the same time giving the security and the compliance team the assurances that they need that the data is still within the country, and making sure that they can visualize all the information within Insight.
100%. And the nice thing about it, it's not just a static report. As you are fully aware, one of the major challenges highly regulated industries see today is what we call as data drift, which is the change in data configurations that creates security gaps. The nice thing about the Insight tool is that it provides continuous drift assessments. And because of the integration with IT service management tools, it alerts the users and it ensures that those risks are mitigated and resolved in a timely fashion. And maybe I wanted to understand from you is today we see that certain industries like finance and healthcare are using the Insight tool. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, for finance, it's strictly managed through the policies, right? They have a stringent requirement in terms of how the data is stored and so on. But when it comes to healthcare, it's not just about the storage, but also leveraging on top of it, which is the encryption, right? How do we make sure that the patient data is not only resides within the country, but at the same time is secured through the different sets of encryption that are coming from the Azure as such, so that the customers can safeguard their data.
Okay. And are there any unexpected industries that are using Core42 Sovereign Public Cloud today? and there are any emerging use cases that we are seeing in the market?
Interesting that you ask, right? And there are a couple of interesting use cases. One of them is regarding the autonomous vehicles, right? They're leveraging the autonomous taxis for sovereign public cloud. And at the same time, when you look at the environmental agencies, they're leveraging the sovereign public cloud to track and monitor the endangered species.
Oh, wow. Interesting, interesting. It's also actually, we need to mention that we are seeing an influx of ISVs, which are independent software vendors, on trying to get access to those sovereign controls. Those ISVs who are providing solutions and programs in the form of SaaS, which is software as a service, they are facing challenges providing those solutions to regulated entities because their solutions are not sovereign. So today we are seeing that influx of ISVs trying to get access to Insight and Core42 Sovereign Controls so that they can tap into this regulated market. So, Imtiaz, what's your take on the UAE becoming a blueprint for other countries in adopting Core42's Sovereign Public Cloud? And is Core42 Sovereign Public Cloud going global?
Absolutely. UAE is the blueprint for sovereignty, right? What we are building is something that can be easily extendable, and we know that the world is watching us, and specifically in terms of how Core42 Sovereign Public Cloud has addressed the challenge of innovation versus the compliance gap. What we want to do is that we want to make this as a lighthouse for the world from a digital sovereignty perspective.
I do agree with you completely, Imtiaz, and I think the UAE is pioneering when it comes to sovereign infrastructure. They started a few years ahead of the world. What's easy now is that instead of isolated and air-gapped systems, Core42 has built their sovereign control layer on top of the Azure backbone infrastructure. This enables other countries to adopt tested and tried technology by simply taking the Core42 sovereign controls, applying it on top of Azure, and enabling AI use cases and public cloud infrastructure to entities in a sovereign fashion.
Spot on, Kareem.
Thank you for joining our Impact Session episode. Stay safe and keep innovating.